Hey kitty cats. So today is Mask Monday and I'm gonna do this crazy gold bio collagen facial mask. I've had it for a while because I have like tons of sheet masks. I'm trying to use like older ones that are at the bottom. And this was pretty close to the bottom, and I was like, oh, I remember getting this and, you know, wanting to do it because I saw like other people do it and blah blah, and I already am having problems. So it's a crystal collagen gold powder facial mask, specialty facial angel. Instant lifting and firming, moisturizes and rehydrates, whitens and illuminates, enhances face slimming and sculpting, whatever. Activates cellular regeneration, collagen synthesis, skin pH balancing, soothing and anti-inflammatory, combat biological and sunlight skin aging. I do not think it can do all those things. In fact, I think that this mask is probably complete bullshit, but I'm gonna give it a go. I already cleansed and dried my face thoroughly. Open this foil package and apply the mask onto your face. Gently press the mask onto your face to create a snug fit. Apply any excess bio-collagen gel over your mask for better moisturizing effect. Wear the facial mask for 20 to 30 minutes. Remove the mask gently, followed by your routine facial regime, which is pretty much... After I do a mask, I don't tend to do a serum or anything because it's like I already did like a serum with the mask. Well, at least with a sheet mask, you know, so, oh my god, this thing does not just rip open, of course. You have to, like, cut it open. Like, oh my god. I'm already hating this mask. Packaging sucks. Super hard to get open. Okay. Now I can... Oh, this is slimy. Okay. It's like a rubbery one, you know. I'm not sure it's gonna stay on my face. Oh my god, this thing is messed up. The way it does not fit my face properly. So 20 minutes of this thing not fitting my face properly. Like, it obviously is supposed to like break right here. There we go. It looks awful. This thing is scary. Oh my god. This is... Okay, that's gonna have to come off too. Because... There. Yeah, sorry, but that's just not gonna work that way. Because I need to be able to talk to you guys. And I would have kept swallowing it. This thing is really scary looking and ugly. I kind of want to go, like, scare John with it or something. There isn't much excess moisturizing stuff here. Yeah, there isn't much. So probably because I had it so long. Yeah, I thought that this was going to be very different than what it is. Oh, it just keeps like... Oh, and I gotta do this for 20 minutes? It says 20 to 30. I'm only doing it for 20. Plus, we already probably spent like a minute just talking. There we go. So I've set it for 19 minutes. And there we go. I will probably leave and come back unless I can talk the whole time, which I might be able to. I'm a very chatty person. So yeah, I was talking to somebody in the grocery store today and I was like, yeah, Like, you should probably just go, because otherwise I'm just gonna like talk your ear off for like an hour standing here in the grocery store. I am that annoying person that's like talking to somebody else in the grocery store. Except I do try to get out of the way, but sometimes you can't help but be in the way when you're like you're, and you know what? People have done it to me before and I've just been like, oh fuck. It's like, I'm here dealing with a me, you know? This, I feel like this is gonna slide off. I don't know if I can do the full 20 minutes. So yeah. Right now, I'm dealing with some shit. We had a huge thunderstorm. It was crazy. We had a huge thunderstorm tonight. It came out of nowhere. Like literally this afternoon, I looked at my Weather Channel thing and it said that we would not be getting any rain until Wednesday. So I was like, okay, so you're, you know, that's how it's gonna be. And then out of nowhere, we're like watching a movie and Bianca comes into the room and she's like, hey, did you guys saw the lightning? Like, there's some serious lightning. And I was like, oh, it must be like heat lightning or something. Like, and she's like, it's UFOs. I'm like, no, it's not UFOs. And then I went to the bathroom and oh my God, I'm like in the bathroom and all of a sudden, you know, like huge thunder. And I'm like, oh crap, she wasn't lying. Like, and then like, we looked and it wasn't raining, but like you could hear the thunder and you could see the lightning. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, water just came down like sheets. It was insane. And it was like that the last storm we had too. Like it flooded downtown. That's my notification thing. And it was just crazy. It's been crazy. So, and you know something? You know who just messaged me too? Somebody answered something I put on me. That's actually Smurfette. Smurfette. One of my, yes, Smurfette Smurf. Who, like, has followed me, like, from practically the beginning, I think. And she's just, like, she's incredible. She's always, like, shouting out my stuff. She's amazing. And so now I'm shouting you on. She's one of my Patreon people. And so I'm giving you a little shout out for doing my Patreon and being there for me and just being the awesome person that you are. She even sent me like a huge box of snacks once for us to try out. And she also like made me some really cool craft things, and it was just, it's fantastic. Like, she's just a great person, and I consider her to be a friend. But I would also say that she's my biggest fan. So anyways, so she just messaged me something. But back to what I was talking about. Yeah, so we had this crazy ass storm and John like ran out there because he left the car windows open. Not very much, just a crack because we don't want anybody to break into the car. So he went out there in the rain and he didn't come back right away. And Bianca was like, I think he's dead. Or no, she's like, he's been gone for a long time. And I was like, he's probably dead. And then she just looked at me and I called him and he left his phone in the house, so it like rang in the house. And then I was like, okay, he's probably dead. And she's like, yeah, he's probably dead. No, he was not dead. He came in a few minutes later and he was watching the lightning from the porch. But yeah, sometimes we get freaked out because, you know, he could have fallen because of his neurological balance issues and stuff. So it's like, he could have fallen down. And he's always doing stuff that he probably shouldn't be doing. This thing is so freakishly creepy. So creepy. Definitely, I can already tell you that I don't care what it does to my face. I will never buy this again. I will never do this again. If I see it somewhere, I'm gonna be like, nope. It's a big nope for me. Guangzhou Jisheng Cosmetic Company. Okay, so yeah, I assume that's a Korean because it's probably some Korean skincare. I don't know what I'm doing. I really. So yeah, and I set off the smoke alarm tonight. That was crazy. And so much fun setting off smoke alarms. I just want to look at the 13 minutes. So I'm also going to tell you, I got a few comments about, you know, the fact that I told like a crazy story of crazy stuff that has happened to me. So I thought there's been a lot of crazy things that have happened to me that I could talk about. So I was like, I should just go back in time and talk about some of the crazy things that has happened. And I'm trying, and right now at this moment, I can't think very well of anything because, you know, I'm going to start writing down like a lot of like things that have happened to me and then tell you about them. Like, you know, because I'm absolutely sure that I have told the story last year or the year before around Halloween time of like my ghost story type stuff. And I think that I'm going to start telling other things about just stuff that's happened that's just like weird. That doesn't mean like supernatural weird, but just, you know, just stuff that's like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, the whole raid of the upstairs neighbor's apartment. Like, that was a really crazy thing that happened. And there have been some other crazy things that have happened in my life that have just been like, what the F is going on? Like, seriously. People always tell me, like, you have, like, the craziest stories. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? They're true. Like, you know, I used to have this friend. And I missed him dearly. He used to live in town and he moved away and he's been through some stuff, but he used to always say, you can't make this stuff up. And
your goal.
That's the way it is. Yeah, I know. I'm never buying this one again. I can tell you that.
I didn't know you were part of the Golden Girls.
It's really like, it feels like some sort of rubber and it's like, yeah, go ahead. You can touch it.
No, I just don't want to be in Canada.
Yeah. It's like really
it just feels
weird.
Like a mess.
It does not. It feels icky. It's not. It feels like some sort of weird rubbery stuff on my face, and I don't like it.
What's
like
new?
I don't mind a regular sheet mask, but this one, and I had to rip it because it didn't fit my face right at all.
You didn't fit my face right.
You're not even making any sense. Go away.
Say please.
Please go away.
Okay. I'm gonna lock you in here.
No, you're not. She is just being so weird today. I don't know. I think she's just like got too much energy or something because she's acting really weird all the time. I actually made that. I just threw the package into the empties and it scored. So anyways, yeah. I'm going to have stories to tell soon. And I hope that you enjoy my crazy stories. But at the moment, I can't think of anything. Like, but yeah, I'm going to tell like crazy stories about the places I've lived. I've lived in a lot of different apartments and houses in a lot of different situations. Of course, you know, I grew up on the Cape in a Cape style house that my father had built for our family, and on an acre of land, and we had huge gardens and lots and lots of rabbits. My dad raised rabbits, and so we had a lot of rabbits. And the thing is, you know, he raised them before eating. I'm sorry. I know that's awful to a lot of you. Like the thought of eating that, I know it's horrifying. But yeah, we grew up that way. So I kind of grew up in like a farm sort of situation because we had all these rabbits that we ate and we took care of, and the fertilizer was for our huge gardens that we had. We had both a huge flower garden and a huge vegetable garden. And it was great, you know. We also did potatoes one year, and we did it all. We had like a little hill in the side of our yard, and we did like the potatoes over there, and as kids we had to go dig up all the potatoes. We had tons of potatoes in the basement for like ever. My mom started making potato salad for this like grocery store that was in town. And they loved it so much they kept asking her for it, but she was just like, you know, I can only make so much potato salad. Because eventually we did run out of potatoes, and that was like, well, you know, now we'd have to go buy them. So we, I don't know what she did. I think she just told them that she couldn't do it anymore, and they were gonna have to like buy potato salad from someplace else. It's kind of funny that she did that because my Nana used to bake goods for a like a little restaurant too, like a little lunch place. And I guess even before then she used to bake stuff for a restaurant. So interesting stories. My Nana was a really good baker. She made wonderful, wonderful cookies and oatmeal bread and all sorts of stuff. Good stuff. My family, like a lot of them, are really good cooks and things. And since we were on the Cape, we ate a lot of seafood. My auntie used to make sea clam pie, which I have no idea how to make. And I wouldn't even know how to get started on it. It sounds disgusting, I know, but it's actually delicious. It's another one of those things like, ew, how could you? But yeah, I grew up in like a farm sort of situation. We had the bunny rabbits, and my aunt on my dad's side, well, great aunt on my dad's side, had chickens and huge gardens, much bigger than my father's. And she had a whole bunch of chickens, so we, you know, could get fresh eggs and all this stuff. And so, and we also lived right down the street from the beach. So I used to dig up quahogs and clams and things and oysters and such. Mostly clams. We called the quahogs, which are like big clams. And we would dig those up. Now it's illegal to do it unless you get a license, but back then it was not a big deal. You could just go and do it, and it was fine. But now you have to get a license to do that. But yeah, that was kind of my childhood, was all these things of, you know, sustainable type living type stuff. Like my mother, you know, and my aunt and Nana all canned and jarred pickles and such things. And my aunt, who lived in Tennessee, my other aunt, would come up. I had, by the way, 6 aunts. 5 aunts. Yes, I had 5 aunts and an uncle on my mother's side. My dad had great aunts, but there was no, he had no brothers and sisters. So, yeah, it was an interesting life, I guess, childhood, having the beach and having the gardens and rabbits and chickens and things of that sort. I remember always like quail would come through the yard during the right seasons, and deer would come through the yard, and foxes. And there was a cow ranch down the street, so we would go visit the cows, and sometimes the cows would get out and they would be like in the street. They would like walk down the street. You'd be driving down the street and like have to wait for the cow to get out of the way, which was so much fun. Because that could take some time, because sometimes the cow was like too frightened to like move, and you could honk and stuff at it, which would usually only frighten it more. And you pretty much just had to wait for the cow to move, because otherwise, you know, you're gonna have to like push it, and you might like tip it over, and that would be kind of mean and bad. So You had to wait. I did never do cow tipping. I never did that stuff. That was kind of ridiculous. I spent a lot of time walking and running around in the woods and hanging out on the beach. So, yeah. I had a pretty good childhood, actually. Especially compared to a lot of people I know. As I got older, things changed for my family, but my childhood itself was actually pretty good. Some people might consider my father and mother to be super strict. Compared to some other people we knew, I was not strict at all. But as I've gotten older and met more people, they're like, oh my gosh, your parents were awful. And I'm like, they weren't. Like, I don't want to get too into it, but like, no, they were strict. And I had some really great times actually with my dad that are incredibly memorable to me. And my parents were actually really loving. Even though they were strict, they were also really loving. Like, there was lots of hugging going on in our house. That was not like, everybody hugged. Everybody hugged. So there was no like loss of affection there. And because people make assumptions, sometimes when you have depression or certain like mental disorders, they think that means that you like had a bad childhood, and I really didn't. No, but like my parents never called me fat or told me that I wasn't good enough. Like, in fact, they supported me and were always trying to find ways to like get me to do more in life, because I was kind of a lazy kid. And so they were just like, you need to do things. Like, but once I found something that I liked to do, they would fully support me in it. Like, there was no, the only thing that I kept secret from my mom was the fact that I was pagan, but that was my teenage years. And like I said, my teenage years were a bit different. But my childhood was really nice. And my parents really loved me. And even though I didn't get along very well with my mother later on, I know that she meant well in the things that she did. She was very, very religious, so it was really hard for her to deal with me because I was not a religious person at all. And my dad, had been super strict when I was little, but when I became a teenager, he really was not. But I got involved in some things that maybe I shouldn't have. Although I dealt with it better than most people, to be honest. I think because of my childhood. Like, I may have gotten involved into some stuff, but I didn't get into as much trouble as most of my friends did. They got into a lot of trouble. I was usually the one that was like, nope, I think it's time for me to go. Like, because this is a bad situation. There were a couple incidents that did happen, which I actually kept from my parents because I didn't want them to feel bad or worry about me. And I think that's kind of normal of a thing for a teenager to do, is to not tell their parents certain things because they don't want them to worry. And even though, oh, there it goes. I can take this freaking thing off. Even though, like, my relationship with my daughter is really good. Oh, this thing was so gross. Look at it. Blah, blah. Okay. So, yeah, even though there isn't much, like, serum to press in, which is kind of disappointing. But I don't, and it doesn't feel like serum. It feels very thin, like liquid. So I didn't like this one. Not a good one in my opinion.
What?
Strange noises coming from over there. What are you doing?
You look like Michael Jordan.
What?
What?
What? Okay. As I was saying,
You're beautiful.
even though my relationship with my daughter is good, we have our moments. And I'm sure there are things that she has kept from me, because all teenagers at some point keep something from their
I
parents.
don't even keep a lot of things from me.
No,
to be honest.
no.
I tell you pretty much everything.
Yes, and I know that's true, and we have a really good relationship, but I'm sure there's something, in fact, I know there are some things that you've kept from me, and then later on you tell me about them.
Yeah, about the amount of dishes that's in my room.
But, you know, nothing too major. Like, she's actually a much better kid than I was.
I'm pretty honest.
But I did do kind of the same thing. I was strict with her when she was younger, and as she got older, I was less strict and tried to let her figure things out for herself. And, you know, if you are a strict parent, that's cool too. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to parent your kid. Like, I think that that's crazy. I don't believe in telling people, like, how to parent your kid unless you're, like, seriously abusing them in some way. You know, physically or sexually, you know, which I don't really want to talk about. Like, that's kind of icky conversation. But if you're not doing something like that, then whatever you're doing is fine. Each kid needs to be parented differently. And it's up to each parent to figure out what that way is. And you might screw up. Or you might not. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect parent. I think that's bullshit. And I hate it when people try to act like they are perfect parents. It's like, no, honey, nobody is perfect. You just do the best that you can for them and hope that you didn't, like, destroy them. I mean, that's all you can do. And, yeah. So, I don't know how we got into parenting, but we did. And, I'm sure people are going to have their opinions down below. We went from, like, the fact that I grew up on a rabbit farm to talking about just parenting. And this has been an interesting video, I guess. So please share, subscribe, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And ring that bell twice if you want notifications. And also remember to always be kind, even when you want to slap them in the face. Bye-bye, kitty cats. Mwah.